colleagues, I welcome you to this session here. And thank you for the opportunity for the opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, when there is a lack of knowledge, education, and awareness, we've seen that there's a general kind of reluctance and indifference towards any new concept or ideas that we see around. And be it solar, be it any new technology, going back to the 18th century when the railways was first invented, the fear that people had that because the railways traveled at more than a 50 kilometer per hour speed, it wouldn't suit women traveling because their ovaries would jump out of their bodies. Now, such unfounded fears and reluctance due to lack of awareness was generally seen across the world for any new technology or concept that we see. Today we're talking about StarC because StarC is ISA's key tool and instrument to build capacity, and it is a top priority for ISA as well because raising awareness, raising education levels in terms of the various solar transitional tools and instruments available is very important. And recognizing this urgent need to support the countries with high potential for solar technology deployment, the Assembly of the International Solar Alliance approved and established the international network of the Star Centers, or we call it StarC. And the aim is to build the necessary human capacity across the globe with and skills from within the member countries to undertake energy transition on their own, while also boosting economic growth and job creation. Time and again, since this product has been launched, we see the need and the key role that it will play among the various small island development states and the least developed countries that we see. Many of these centers are, after launch, being used and also to propagate and promote and deliver formal graduate qualification, diploma qualifications that would lead to employment, especially providing gender equity among the populations that are within all these different geographies that we work. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to solar energy resources, very few academic establishments cater specifically for the research and training needed in the exploration and the development of technology. We have seen that when it comes to the application of the knowledge in the field of solar technology, hands-on practical training is not the most common thing that you find, which not just accelerates the speed of rolling out and implementing solar technology, but also provides ample opportunities for employment across the board. Added to this fact that there are significant challenges due to the access of information and training on renewable principles, I'm aware of some Pacific countries sending their students and their populations across to other countries where such qualifications are available. It is ISA's intention to make such StarC centers available across the geographies in individual islands, individual countries, where the populations don't have to travel or not travel at all or not undergo formal qualifications or education. So that way, the lack of solar technology and transitioning is removed. On the other hand, we also have noticed that opportunities for women and the vulnerable groups to be involved in renewable energy and green growth projects can be alleviated by providing this education, this support to a wide range of geographies and groups and countries and areas and regions that we have seen. These star centers act as technology, knowledge, and expertise hub on a solar energy and go-to place for member countries at regional and, of course, country level. The StarCs are expected to undertake testings as well. So when you implement, when you roll out a project, the requirements that you have, servicing that you require, are all we are able to have them undertaken within these centers. These centers will aim to meet capacity building needs by building capable solar energy workforce, sensitizing policymakers, provide policymakers, legislators with the support that you require in being able to roll out the legislation, identify regulatory gaps, and be able to fill those regulatory gaps through the education that these STARC centers will provide. We do not want this to be an unilateral effort. We seek partnerships from governments, from non-governmental organizations, from community groups, and from various other organizations who can work with the International Solar Alliance. And I'm so glad that you're here today to be able to listen to this, contribute to this, take home this valuable product to your countries and promote it. And if you require further information, our officials are here to be able to provide you the support and the information so you could make it a homegrown product in your own country. In closing, let me wish all of you and the organizers and the panelists the very best and a very fruitful session today, so that many more such solutions can be evolved and taken home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wycliffe, for your opening remarks and positioning STAR Center as a go-to place for the member countries. Today, among with us is an eminent speaker from the French government, Mr. Stéphane Creuset, who is the ambassador for the climate negotiation government of France. May I invite Mr. Stéphane for his keynote address in the session.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Do we have interpretation in French? We do. Well, in that case, I will speak French. Donc, n'hésitez pas à prendre. If you need. I always relish the opportunities to speak French at COPs. It's not always guaranteed possibility. Et félicitations d'avoir proposé ces différentes langues d'interprétation, puisque la richesse des COP, c'est aussi la diversité linguistique.
For people who want to listen to the interpretation, please use channel 4 for English.
Donc c'est un plaisir d'être ici sur ce site, sur le pavillon de l'Alliance solaire internationale. Comme vous le savez, la France est un grand supporter de l'Alliance solaire internationale. Nous avons rejoint cette alliance à ses tout débuts. Nous avions fait partie des pays avec l'Inde qui avions lancé cette alliance solaire internationale. Et nous pensons qu'il y a un énorme potentiel de cette alliance qui est devenue une organisation internationale qui rassemble maintenant des dizaines de membres et qui essaye de faire en sorte que le solaire devienne vraiment la technologie d'avenir. Et on a un potentiel gigantesque, comme vous le savez, 89% de réduction des coûts dans le solaire depuis la décennie passée. Donc, ce qui est important aussi, aujourd'hui, nous allons parler d'un programme particulier qui est le STARC et qui fait référence au renforcement de capacités. Les projets solaires, ils ont besoin de spécialistes. Et il y a beaucoup de pays qui ont un potentiel énorme, mais qui n'ont pas encore ces spécialistes. Et donc, nous devons essayer de faire en sorte que les capacités des pays récipiendaires soient à l'échelle. Vous savez que l'AIE, l'agence française, l'agence internationale de l'énergie, nous dit que 40 millions d'emplois seront créés dans les énergies propres d'ici 2030, largement plus que ce que les emplois seront perdus dans les énergies fossiles. Et donc, pour ça, il faut vraiment développer les capacités de ces pays. Et on est très heureux que l'International Solar Alliance ait développé ce programme STARC en liaison avec UNIDO, programme pour lequel la France va contribuer à hauteur de 1 million d'euros. Et nous avons déjà des projets pilotes qui sont en cours avec 3 pays, avec le Sénégal, avec le Bhoutan, avec la Papouasie-Nouvelle-Guinée. Et donc, cela permettra donc de développer des capacités dans ces pays. Bon, je pense au Sénégal en particulier, avec qui nous entretenons des relations très, très suivies, notamment pour le développement de leurs énergies renouvelables, potentiel gigantesque du Sénégal. Et donc, tout cela va devoir permettre de développer les services d'énergie solaire, les programmes de formation, les réseaux, pour un développement accéléré des énergies renouvelables. Et nous espérons que de nombreux pays développés pourront participer au développement de cette initiative très importante. Je vous remercie beaucoup.
Thank you, Mr. Stephanie. Thank you. Thank you for emphasizing the effort which France has made with ISA on Star C. That has been really appreciative, and we are going forward very well with the project that we have recently launched with Government of France and UNIDO. I know that you are busy with the negotiations right now. I won't hold you back, but if you can stay back, that will be really grateful. We'll be really grateful to you. We have been working with the member countries on the STAR-C initiative, which is the Solar Technology Application Resource Center initiative. And we have recently worked with Ethiopia very actively to set up the first ISA STAR Center. I hope Dr. Freywood is online. Do we have Dr. Freywood online? And Mr. Gosai?
Yes, both of us are online.
Dr. Freywood, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Good. So today we want to inaugurate the first STAR Center of the International Solar Alliance in Ethiopia. This STAR Center is one of its kind, offering training, testing, incubation to the enterprises, as well as acting as a knowledge center for the policymakers, for the financial institutions, for the professionals, having data and information all together at a single point. We would like to inaugurate today the Ethiopia STAR Center with a short So with Dr. Freywood, we would like to inaugurate the first STAR Center of Ethiopia at the Addis Ababa University. This STAR Center is going to act as a go-to place, as Mr. Joshua Wycliffe said, for most of the professionals, for policymakers, for everyone. I would like to request Dr. Freywood for his brief comments on his experience. He has been one of the champion of the STAR Centers in Ethiopia. He has helped us to do the in-depth study of the needs of the functions that the STAR Center will provide and the steps that needs to be taken to set up the STAR Center. Over to you, Dr. Freywood.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Caleb. As mentioned earlier, the STAR Center in Ethiopia is going to be the first or among the first STAR Centers to be established by the ISA. Well, we have been making preparations in the last 6 months or so. Location, identification of location, appropriate location, and also, identification of equipment which are going to be used for the center. So all these preparations have been made, and some studies have already been carried out outsourced by IntelCap. And I think now we are just ready to launch the STAR Center. In fact, before launching, even we have carried out a half-day training program in collaboration with the ISA and NPTC. So with that, practical exposure has been virtually transmitted. And I would say, I think this applications resource center would play a very critical role in Ethiopia's effort in deployment of solar technologies. Actually, the government has an ambitious plan of universal access within the next 5-6 years. By 2030, 65% of the population is supposed to be connected to the grid, but 35% will rely on off-grid technologies, mainly solar technologies. So a range of products, solar mini grids, solar home systems, and the like will be really distributed. But in parallel, we need the human resource. Sufficient human resource must be built, and it is with this understanding that Ethiopia is committed to host this Star Center, to launch the Star Center within Addis Ababa University Institute of Technology, and hopefully to collaborate with other Star Centers. That's all I can say for now. Thank you very much. Back to you, Kala.
Thank you, Dr. Freywood. Thank you. Dr. Freywood has been one of the champions of the Star Center, and we have been actually using his knowledge to also propagate the Star Center in many other countries. Many countries have asked us what the Star Center is all about, how it looks, what are the functions. We have been preparing briefs and sharing with them, but for the ease of their understanding, we have developed a very short video of what the Star Center is, how the Star Center looks, and what it needs to be done to actually have a Star Center set up in the country. May I request the console members, colleagues to play the video, short video.
Energy lies at the heart of development, driving investments and creating jobs. Solar energy is the most abundant renewable energy source available on Earth. The International Solar Alliance, or ISA, is a global platform for cooperation among member countries to achieve deployment of solar energy in a convenient, affordable, equitable, and sustainable manner. ISA's flagship initiative, the Solar Technology Application Resource, or STAR Centers, builds the human capacity and skills to actively deploy latest technologies and use knowledge to formulate policies and mobilize finance. A STAR Center offers 4 critical functions: training to raise professional standards and skills among stakeholders at all levels, testing solar components and applications, providing early-stage assistance and incubation to enterprises, and creating a repository of information, including policies, regulations, and standards. The global network of STAR Centers will create an ecosystem of strengthened capacity and accelerate deployment of solar energy by ISA member countries. Steps of setting up a STAR Center include an expression of interest by a country, signing an MOU with ISA, assessment of specific needs of the country, including design of a self-sustaining work plan, and launch of the STAR Center. The STAR Centers aim to achieve ISA's mission to ensure that every home, no matter how far, will have a light. Join us. Energy lies at the heart of development.
Now with that, I would like to invite our eminent panelists to the dais. Mr. Seth Mau, who is the national focal point for Ghana, at the dais, sir, please. Engineer Simon Sesekitolo from Uganda, at the dais, sir, please. Mr. Jem Porcaro, who is the head Energy Access, SE for All. Mr. Mike Engstedt, Head of Infrastructure and Energy and Water from GIZ. Mr. Nako Tori, who is the Industrial Development Expert, UNIDO. We also have Mr. Gosai from Ethiopia, who is the Power Sector Reform Policy and Regulatory Advisor. We also wanted to have Stephanie Trezot, Ambassador, as a panelist, but he is busy with the negotiation, so he went back. I would like to invite the moderator for the session, Assistant Director General from International Solar Alliance, Mr. Philip Malbranche.
So thank you, Sabah, for introducing this panel. We will divide this panel in two parts, I would say. First, we will start with the expectation and some of the achievements which have already been made in some countries. So I will first ask the NFP, our national ISA, National Focal Points, to get their views on what on this StarC process. And then I will hand over to our partner organization, GIZ, UNIDO, and SE4All. So first, I would like to start with our online participant from Ethiopia. So Mr. Gosai, if you are, yes, I see you, I can see you. So Mr. Gosai, the floor is yours in order to get your views on the need for these capacity building facilities and how the process that you have seen for implementing a first StarC center in Ethiopia. So, Mr. Gosai, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the organizers. I'm very happy to see the launching of the first StarC program in Ethiopia. This is one of the missing part of our energy sector development program. When you see Ethiopia, our country is one of the most important influential country in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of economy. The economy is growing more than 6% per annum. And the electricity is increasing, more than 14%, the demand, the electricity demand is more than 14%. So I think we have an ambitious program to make access our people. Majority of our people live in dark, almost 53% or 60 million people have no access to electricity. So for this, we have an ambitious program. We have a national education program. We have low-cost renewable energy resource in the country. I mean, one of the resources is solar. So when we see solar, it is very important for grid and for off-grid technology. In our case, so far, all the solar technologies are coming from outside. All of them are imported. So we have to, at least we have to aim to localize, these technologies and to manufacture in our country. And so in this regard, I think there should be, some capacity building, knowledge hub, innovation hub and training center. For this, I think the STAR-C is one of the most important, instrument to expedite, especially not only, electrifying our population, but it can create a green job, a lot of green job in the country. So I think for this, I'm happy to see the launching of this STAR-C in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this comment. Could you tell us a bit more precisely, as a STAR Center, what are the activities which are the most useful? You talk about the application field, which will be off-grid and mini-grid and so on. But then, what is the most needed? Is it about training people? Is it about testing to ensure the quality of the equipment and the various systems? Is it about knowledge and having a kind of expertise hub or expertise center or an innovation center? What would be the key needs? And you can tell me all of them are important, but as a first priority, what would you see as really key?
As I said, until now, we are importing majority of the solar technologies from outside. Local manufacturing, assembly is at nascent stage in our country. For this, I think, I know that all the four important elements in STAR-C are important for us, especially. Training is one of the most important part for young population. We have many young population, they are looking for jobs. So training is one of the most important part for capacity building in this country. Well, testing, yes, of course, this is also the most important because we have to make it standard. Many substandard equipments are coming. So this is one of the hub for making a standard of the technologies. Well, innovation can be one of the most important part for center of job creation. Many young population can be engaged in this business. Well, knowledge management, you can see it later. This is also important. So I think in our case, since this is the beginning, we can start from training and testing, then innovation, then the knowledge management can be followed. In my opinion, all of them, they are important, but the STAR-C, the university has to arrange itself, has to establish the necessary equipments, the necessary personnel, to deliver all of these things. Because as a government entity, we are all, recently we have already established, one huge task force, to oversee all of these, assignments in our country.
Thank you, Mr. Gozai. I will now move, or we will all move from Ethiopia to Ghana to see and to compare what are your thoughts. Yes. So, Mr. Seth Mau, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to our audience here and those of you who are listening to us all over the world. For us from Ghana, it's really an opportunity to, tell you what we are doing with respect to the promotion of renewable energy and the role that we think STAR-C can play in accelerating and consolidating our position as a a regional leader in renewable energy solutions. Ghana currently has one of the highest access rates to electrification in the sub-region. 88% of our people are connected with a generation capacity of close to about 6,000 megawatts. And we have a blueprint that we are running with to be able to bring on board renewable energy, particularly with solar. Currently, the solar installed capacity is just around 150 megawatts in the generation mix. However, there is so much potential, so much opportunity for us to be able to scale up the solar contribution in our generation mix. To do that, we see StarC as a critical platform that can really enable the building of capacity, help us address regulatory constraint issues, as well as raise or serve as a platform that we can use to mobilize financing facilities to be able to scale up solar interventions. I would want to say that Ghana, by virtue of its geographical position, has the advantage to become the springboard to serve the Sahelian regions, particularly when it comes to capacity development with respect to solar energy deployment. We see that along the entire value chain, from planning, regulation, project development, project implementation, provision of services. These are all opportunities that we think StarC can be able to support us, deliver and help us scale up renewable energy deployment in the ECOWAS sub-region. To again add to that, if you look at the structure of the entire arrangement, StarC could serve as a bridge, to help, cost effectively build capacity instead of the traditional approach where we always have to send people abroad for training. Here, we can actually get people in, train them to become trainers, and they will be within the system and build capacity at cost-effective arrangements. So these are some of the leverages that we think StarC can help bring to the system. Again, if you look at the area of electrification, there's so much opportunity in the region. Most of the countries in the sub-region have access rate averaging around 50%. We need to deploy solar energy in the form of mini-grid, standalone systems, utility-scale solar deployment. All of this will require that we have the needed capacity to be able to do that. Looking at the size of the market, I also want to say that there is an opportunity again for StarC to delve into the area of consolidating local production of solar technologies to meet the demands of the market in the sub-region. So here, as a country, we would want to explore that opportunity to ensure that we are able to, do the necessary studies, assess the true market potential for local manufacturing of solar technologies, and build capacity to be able to meet that requirement. So this would be my initial thoughts on the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. You are even enlarging the scope and the task that we have you. But I fully agree. I fully support what you are saying. Let's move to your neighbor, to Simon. Difficult name, Sekito Leko. Yes. So the floor is yours. I forgot to say that you were from Uganda, so the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and a good afternoon to all you here present and those following online. Sekito Leko Simon Peter is my name. I work with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development in Uganda, and I'm in the Department of Renewable Energy. I'd like to use this opportunity first and foremost to thank the International Solar Alliance for the opportunity, but also for the deliberate effort to foster partnerships and to advance the renewable energy agenda worldwide, but in particular in Uganda. Regarding the topic at hand, I'm happy to inform the meeting that Uganda has expressed interest to establish a STAR-C center, and we've already identified a location at one of the universities that is already engaged in renewable energy technology development, advancement, and training. That is Busitema University. It even has a 4 megawatt solar power plant that they've established and are now evacuating and able to supply power. And in preparation for the STAR-C Center, we have also made an effort to capacity build some of the staff at the university so that by the time the opportunity matures, we are ready to take it on and seize the day. Now, regarding the aspects of the STAR-C Center that we deem particularly important, Uganda as it stands is at an electricity access rate of 57%, of which 38% is off-grid, 19% is on-grid. And we want to accelerate and enhance this rate to 100% by the year 2030, as is enshrined in our national electrification strategy. Now, to do this, it is important that we find components that are levers to trigger and catalyze this advancement towards 100% within the next few years. And the STAR-C Center offers a very good opportunity to do this. We want to focus on, first and foremost, enhancing, consolidating, and ensuring that whatever we are intervening or the actions being taken are informed by data that is of a high resolution. So we want to use the STAR-C opportunity to collect data, consolidate data, refine data, and utilize that data to inform our policy decisions and our interventions accordingly. And also to have a resource center where not only us, the decision makers, the policy makers, but even the general public or interested business executives or private sector can make a reference to, so that they can make decisions on how to then enter the market and succeed within the solar energy market in Uganda. Secondly, Uganda has been one of those countries that has quickly picked up on the application and utilization of solar energy. And we want to add on to that effort by enhancing and leveraging the demand side of things. And to do that, we want to promote the productive use of energy. And we think that through the STAR-C Center and the related efforts, we'll be able to raise awareness, we'll be able to inform and explicitly help the people appreciate what applications the solar energy can actually be used to do, be it in the realm of agriculture, where you have the productive uses, be it solar irrigation, be it the cold chain and solar refrigeration, be it in the health sector, so that once we stimulate the demand side of things, it will be easier to then influence and encourage people to take on this technology. And as such, whatever efforts the government and development partners are doing to increase access will ensure that those translate into adoption and uptake and productive utilization of the resources provided. Furthermore, we are currently plagued with an issue of proliferation of substandard products within the country. And through the efforts by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, but also partnering with relevant associations, for example, the Uganda Solar Energy Association, we're trying to ensure that there are guidelines and standards that will dictate not only the products coming in, so that we ensure that we are only availing onto the market good quality products, but also in the same spirit, influence the standards and quality of products being produced locally. And this will not only foster local production, local innovation, local technology development, as well as south-to-south technology transfer, But then once we get to a certain level, it will also create an environment to further encourage and create a very good enabling environment to foster foreign direct investment, be it north to south technology transfer, but also create a very good platform to ensure that the Ugandan products and the Ugandan innovators and Ugandan enterprises not only benefit from the local market, but also the regional and external market. Finally, if I may, we've spoken about trainings and capacity building. And I think this is also a critical point that Uganda wants to take interest in. We want to develop a critical mass, not only on the side of the policymakers, but also on the side of the practitioners, the technicians, but even the end users, those that are actually utilizing the technology. Oftentimes you find people have access to a particular technology, but they don't harness or leverage the full potential of, say, technology. And as such, they do not encourage or promote or advocate for the application of such technologies. If we dedicatedly ensure that we have a critical mass capacity built, we believe that that will have a natural knock-on and ripple effect that will encourage people to adopt these technologies and make it easier to advance this effort accordingly. Finally, this is always spoken about, but again, it's something that we naturally need to look at, how we then start to create innovative, responsive, and robust financing mechanisms. Because in as much as you can create options, in as much as you can try and avail options, access and affordability are critical. And innovative financing mechanisms that are contextually appropriate are an area that we are keenly interested in, not only simply adopting what we think has worked elsewhere, but then picking up from lessons from elsewhere, adapting them and making sure that they speak to the need of the country, and as such, they can sustainably be deployed and ensure we advance the renewable energy agenda. I think.
Thank you. You were very, very comprehensive as well. I appreciated this data collection issue, which are key to enable further financing. You know, it allows to show the risk and the performance, and then it's evidence to the bankers for getting more facilities, I would say, on the financing side. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our colleague from Zimbabwe. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Yes, Gloria Magombo. If you want to add some of your views, some of your thoughts on this StarC process and initiatives.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak. As a country, we would like to congratulate ISA and Ethiopia for launching the StarC program, which is quite critical for our region, especially from the African point of view. Zimbabwe, as a country, we have expressed interest to also participate in this program. We believe that it's a critical program where the issue of transition is not anything for debate, but it has to be done. As a country, we still have about 40% of our population which does not have access to modern energy, and we need that to happen. And it's important for us to create the internal capacity to be able to accelerate and roll out that access, especially using renewable energy technologies. We do have universities, and with our Education 5.0, where we have come up with innovative centers, we have a number of our colleges which are StarC ready, which already have programs to do with renewable energy. So we'll be eagerly waiting for you to come in, and we can together ensure that this system is set up and the capacity is built Our location at a regional level is quite central to the Southern African region. So we believe that we can provide not just capacity building for ourselves as a country, but also for the region at large. We also want to highlight the fact that renewable energy technologies are basically, thank you, imported technologies, and as a Southern African country, we would want to see the African countries, whilst they adopt these technologies, but participate also in the value chain. So we're one of those countries which is advocating for the value addition and beneficiation of the critical minerals for these renewable energy technologies to be done in our own countries, so that we create jobs for our own youth, and also assemble of some of these technologies within our countries. And we are also one of those countries which is advocating for local content in the final products which are being introduced into the sector. So we are very much looking forward to this, and we believe that with the Star C centers, where we can share the technologies, we can improve the acceptability of the technologies by ensuring that the installations are done to the right quality and standards, which has been a drawback in a lot of countries. So I'd like to briefly leave it at this, and thank you so much for allowing us to participate and also contribute to this.
I will now hand over to Jem Porcaro, Head of Energy Access at SE4All. So I would like, we have been hearing a lot about expectations of our country. So I would like to have your view on your current, from your expertise, and you have already been used to perform such activities. So I would like to hear your views on that.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me all right. First off, let me thank ISA for welcoming me here. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me congratulate again ISA Ethiopia, your partners on this much needed and important Star Center initiative. Just by way of background, for those of you who may not be familiar with Sustainable Energy for All, we are an international organization whose mission is basically to accelerate progress towards SDG 7, which is, of course, universal energy access. We were established in 2011, originally as a special initiative of the United Nations. Since then have spun out as a separate entity, and our key two priorities are helping countries achieve energy access while also charting out a clean energy transition. And much of our work is around building ambition, providing technical assistance, advisory support to countries, and kind of serving as the engine room for the sustainable energy agenda. And kind of partnerships are core to what we do. So we have the honor and pleasure of working with many governments across sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and providing kind of a connective tissue between governments, development partners, and industry. I think this session and this topic reminds me of a saying, and I will likely get the saying wrong, and I don't know where the saying comes from, but it's, if you want to help a hungry person, don't give them a fish, help them build a fishing pole. And I think that saying really encapsulates the importance of what Star Center is trying to do. I think in the urgency of trying to reach our development goals, our climate goals, we mustn't forget that clean energy transitions are a long-term project. They're about systemic change, and that means investing in human and institutional capacities. Of course, we must strike the right balance between some of these longer term investments and acting quickly. But we mustn't forget, and I think it is too often overlooked and underappreciated, the importance of building institutional and human capacities, and really the principles of self-determination and self-reliance. So much of what I do is focused on energy access, and so I'll offer a few remarks, but to be very honest, the colleagues that preceded me, I think, summed up a lot of the most important issues. I was going to talk about kind of what are the barriers to energy access, but I think most of us probably understand that. I wanted to just highlight a few areas where I see specific gaps in capacities that I think this new initiative can help address, and collectively we need to pay attention to. The first is around helping create the enabling environment, particularly for distributed solar. We need a lot more capacity built around energy planning, massive modeling, energy data, statistics, regulation was mentioned, how to set tariffs, interconnections, how to create fiscal incentives that encourage and crowd in private investment into the distributed solar space, whether it be for clean energy mini grids or solar home systems. The second one, which I think was also alluded to, which I'm particularly passionate about, is building kind of the cadre of enterprises that we know are needed to deliver our energy access goals. The fact is there are far too few enterprises, businesses operating in least developed countries and SIDS delivering energy access solutions. We need an order of magnitude more second and third generation companies to start delivering mini grids and solar home systems in many of these markets. And so we need to invest in entrepreneurship. We need to invest in, financial literacy, sales, technical installation, after sales services. And I would stress that not only do we need more of these enterprises, we need to invest in more local enterprises. The fact is that about 6 or 7 companies around the world are taking the lion's share of investment in the off-grid space. We need to expand that to far more companies and local companies. So we need to build up that entrepreneurship in these countries to deliver. Technical quality assurance was mentioned. I think that's an obvious one, particularly for the off-grid sector, to make sure that these products are of high enough standard, that we have solar technicians that are installing these systems to the right standard so they don't ultimately fail prematurely, which we know is an issue. I'll mention just 1 or 2 more. This I don't think was mentioned all that much, but we need to also invest in the human and institutional capacities of the financial sector in some of these countries. In some markets, solar technology is still a relatively new and not well understood technology. That means that the risks around these are overpriced. So we need to invest in the capacity of local banks and local financial institutions to make sure that they understand these technologies, they understand how to price those risks so that we're not overestimating those risks. Last but not least, it was mentioned in the beginning, but I think it would be remiss if we didn't mention that amongst all of these various needs, we need to pay attention to the role of women and expanding kind of the opportunities for women in the solar industry. They are really not represented to the extent that they should be in this industry, and we're missing out as a result. So those are just a few remarks. Again, I applaud ISA, I applaud Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda for their leadership in this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was very, very clear. And we, all our statements are very, very similar, very consistent. But now the issue we are facing is changing the scale, is changing the order of magnitude. You just said this because we are pushing, inaugurating the first star center, but immediately we have dozens, if not 100 requests to do the same. So there are financial issues. It means that we have to be efficient, cost effective. So that would be my question to you from GIZ. How to use existing know-how in knowledge dissemination. You are quite famous in developing, in supporting such activities. So what will be your view to not to reinvent the wheel and using training courses, training session, or any activity which have been mentioned? So what would be your recommendations?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks to ESA for having us here on this very exciting panel, and congratulations to ESA and to all the partners who are represented here for this STAR initiative. It is right to say that this is timely, but it has also been would have been timely 10 years, 20 years ago. I'm saying that because I represent GIZ. We're an implementing agency of the German government for international cooperation. And we've been working in the space for 30 plus years. I think the first solar programs with Africa, other parts of Asia, I think we started in the mid 1980s. And all these years, capacity building, training, market development, institution building has been at the core of our work. And first of all, what I want to say is that we stand ready to bring our institutional experience and knowledge and networks into partnerships with ESA. We work very closely at headquarter level in India with your colleagues, but also we stand more than ready to team up at country level. We have strong programs in Ethiopia, in Ghana, in Uganda, and colleagues would be more than willing to reach out to the STAR centers and see where we can work together and complement each other and scale up what we're doing. And when I talk about for how many years or decades we've been doing this work, I'm also thinking of a panel I was on last night at the Africa Pavilion. It was about minerals in Africa and the role of minerals for the global and the African energy transition. And a colleague from the IEA was quoting a figure saying that the installed capacity of solar in Africa equals the installed capacity of the Netherlands. And that's extremely depressing. I mean, congratulations to the Netherlands for what they have achieved, but I think there's so much more opportunity to do that in Africa. And it starts with very basic solar technology, solar lanterns for basic energy access. But we also, as you mentioned, Madam, the long-term perspective of the role of Africa with its strong population growth, with the increasing energy needs, and with its further integration also into the global economy. I think the issue of manufacturing, solar manufacturing, is a great long-term opportunity. I think these are very different agendas: energy access and building sort of large-scale solar manufacturing capacity also for global exports. Different agendas, but I think both have to have the same level of attention. And as I said, I mean, coming from Germany, one of the hottest issues being discussed in our political system today is the diversification of supply chains in the context of energy security. And solar manufacturing is a big issue on that. We all know where most of the solar panels come from today. And there is, I think, a deliberate effort in Europe, not just in Germany, to also see how we can diversify the global supply chains of solar. And I think Africa, maybe not all parts of Africa immediately, but the more advanced economies that would be able to integrate those technologically challenging. It's not an easy technology.
but I think there are ways and there are opportunities in parts of Africa to really start that venture and build that manufacturing. And all I want to say is, as a partner, GIZ stands ready to work with ESA, to work with the STAR centers, to work with SE for All. I mean, we're discussing things we can do together, and I think all our contributions can only be a drop into the ocean, but maybe if there are plenty of drops, it will turn into a bigger wave. And I think we, as I said, we stand ready to partner with all of you.
Thank you very much. I will hand over to Mr. Naoki Tori to get the view of UNIDO on supporting knowledge management and capacity building.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. My name is Naoki. I'm an industrial development expert at UNIDO Energy Department, and I'd like to join myself to congratulate this inauguration of the Ethiopian Center for Solar Energy. And before getting into the detail, let me touch upon what UNIDO does. UNIDO is established almost 50 years ago and became one of the UN specialized agencies. Our mandate is to promote so-called ISID, inclusive and sustainable industrial development in our member states. And under this ISID, which is closely linked to the SDGs, especially the gold mine. With this mandate, we have 4 pillars of organizational objectives. One is to advance economic competitiveness. Second is to promote shared prosperity. Third is to advance the environmental safeguarding, and also advancing the forces to advance the knowledge development and the institutional framework. For these objectives, we have several approaches. The one is to conduct technical cooperation. The second is to implement some analytical or policy advisory services. And the third is to provide some normative functions, including standardization or some activities related to quality improvement. And also, lastly, to provide a convening function, creation of partnerships or facilitation of the network. And I'd like to also touch upon our strengths in providing the intervention through our country offices and regional hubs, with which we can adjust or develop, improve our intervention, taking into consideration of the country or regional perspectives and environment. And in terms of energy-related intervention, we have long-standing program called GenSec, which is a global network for sustainable energy center. Under this program, since 2010, we're supporting local and regional energy communities to develop regional center. So we, at this moment, have 10 regional centers for sustainable energy promotion across the globe, including African and Arab region, Latin American and Caribbean, as well as Asian and Pacific. So these centers are literally across the globe. And why these regional centers are established? Because our view is that with regional collaboration, we can certainly create the economy of scale, whereby this fly is surrounding me all through my presentation. But anyways, we can facilitate joint learning and what else? Harmonization of the policy and the standardization, or shared knowledge, lessons learned, and creation and sharing the best practices. Or we can bundle the project, which can attract further financing. So we can definitely efficiently intervene for the uptake of renewable energy or energy efficiency projects. So I realized that our UNIDO intervention is definitely closely aligned with what ACER does, what the STARSI does. And we are really happy to, as UNIDO, to be engaged in this STARSI program. And we'd like to encourage for those countries who haven't decided to do so to be engaged with this STARSI project. And we are happy to work together with those countries for the uptake of solar technology and renewable energies. Thanks.
Thank you, Naoki Tori. I would like to check if in the audience there are some questions. Yes, there's one in the behind.
My name is Abdurrahman. I am the founder of Arab Renewable Energy Academy platform. We are mainly directed to create various training programs in Arabic countries to enhance and to accelerate the energy transitions in these countries. From our experience, we face a lot of challenges. How to create high qualified personals in solar energy and other renewables technologies. The main the main obstacle that we find in the market, in the solar market, we have a lot of investment, a lot of funding to implement the technology. But in the other side, there is a small percentage that directed to training programs, building capacity. After a few years for establishing various solar systems in many countries like Yemen, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, we see this solar system just under the sun, and the efficiency that they have efficiency less than 30%. When we analyze this solar system, the market, the main issues, the personnel, the team, the companies who created this solar systems, they don't have experience in solar energy. The question is how the investors, how the founders are ready to start seriously consider these issues. And as we, Arabrina, the training platform, we are ready to provide educational training programs. We have already more than 12 training programs in solar energy. But as Dr. mentioned from Renewable Energy Department, the mechanism to get the founder to contact with people who had the financial program. In the past, we had many issues. We didn't have the data, we didn't have the experience, we didn't have the technology, we didn't have the fund. But today we have all of them. But the tool that we works, it's not active too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. And I would like to reply that as ISA, we are planning to have an open platform on which to upload any existing training course, online training course. and we would be ready to host your product, your training product, your training sessions. So we can discuss on that later on. Joshua, you had a question?
Mine is not a question, it's more an observation, especially to the panelists from the GIZ. With Europe and Germany in particular, looking at diversifying your energy security options, would the EU look at offshoring energy sources, supply chains, to be able to better improvise their supply chains? Secondly, if that is the case, then that will also increase the need for education and awareness in offshore countries, where increased education awareness will help build supply chains for the Europe.
Okay. Thank you. We have another question. Yes, please.
I'm Carolina Guti, and I work with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development in Uganda. I think the aspects of promotion of solar is very good, but I think what we need to pay attention is the waste management component of the solar components, because it seems worldwide right now, there is no specific research in terms of how we are going to manage the end-of-life batteries and panels from solar. So I think we need to be supported as the African countries actually get into the promotion of solar, but the waste management component needs to be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing out this issue. I would reply quickly that within ISA, we have a program on sustainability, recyclability of PV module and battery waste management. Very quickly, I would like to reply that an important first step to handle this is to have good specification at the procurement stage. Because today you can choose or you can select some equipment which may last 20 or 30 years. But if you are not careful with the specification, you may end up with products of which the end of life will be only 5 years or 10 years. So today you have already the power to decide about your amount of waste in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, because it's a huge difference if you have a PV module lasting 5 or 10 years or 20 or 40 years. It really makes a difference. I agree, but at the end, anyhow, we will have end-of-life products, and we will have to manage it as we have to do it for batteries, for vehicles, and for other glass products. Thank you for this comment. Any other comment? Maybe I have one last question to the panel. We are all aware that we are looking at job creation and then training of technicians, engineers is key. Apart from that, considering other topics like the policies, the regulatory framework, financing issue, the road mapping process, which of these components or which of this audience, you know, because it could be lawyers, it could be government official, who would be, who do you think would be the most urgent audience to be targeted, to help in the support of, in the scaling up of solar systems? Who would like to answer this question?
Thank you. Maybe this question, and you also asked a specific question, so I'm also happy to address that. On what can be done and how can it best be done to support capacity building at large scale, to provide it to engineers, to project developers, and so forth. Our answer is it really depends on the specific resources and institutional resources you have in a given country. Countries differ heavily, and there's many structural problems in African countries that are not particular to solar, but that would also be, I don't know, reflected in the health sector or in other sectors of the economy. So what we recommend is really to look at where in your specific country do you have some institutional strength on which you can build the capacity also for solar. Is it rather, some countries it's rather the private sector, you have businesses, some countries have very good training colleges, public colleges, some have very good universities. So really try to understand where are institutional capacities and strengths that you can build up on, and don't come with the one solution that fits all the countries. You won't have that. On I think you call, I didn't understand very well. You call it offshoring PV product. I mean, it's not so much about offshoring. It's, I mean, the supplies today heavily come from China in the solar manufacturing and solar supply chains. And so given now the experience with gas from Russia, there's a very high level of nervousness now about the long-term security of supply when it comes to renewable energy technologies. And this, I think, I know that's the case for Germany, but I think it reflects large parts of the EU and in Europe. And I would expect that in the next generation of partnerships and development projects, that this will come much more into the focus. Also under the concept of just transition, which is heavily discussed. I mean, originally we started discussing phasing out coal and what does it mean for the coal region and the coal workers. But I think it will also, at some point, we will also have to talk about the benefits and benefit sharing, and how in a just transition can you more evenly also share benefits that will come with the further deployment of renewable energies. And I think there's a lot of potential benefit for many African countries in this emerging global market for renewable energy technologies, especially as far as decentralized solutions are concerned. I mean, we often talk about renewable sector, but I think it's a very different ballgame if you talk about large solar farms. They usually don't create many jobs. Once they are installed, they'll be there for 20 years, and there's probably a few people running it. But in the decentralized solar heaters, solar lamps, solar lanterns, this is all labor intensive. This is often rather low skilled. I think there are plenty of opportunities for very systemic or systematic market development, also with huge benefits for job creation and economic welfare.
Thank you very much. I think we are running out of time. Yes, we are going to close the session soon. I would like to hand over to Mr. Freivot to provide him with the opportunity to make some final remark as he is not on stage. So Mr. Freivot, if you would like to say a final word for this session.
Thank you very much. Well, it's really exciting to have many countries being interested, being engaged in this very important program, StarSea program. Well, at some point, I'm sure a number of countries will have their StarSea. And I would like to have a kind of platform whereby players in these StarSea programs can exchange experiences for better quality activities. We have said already these centers are going to be involved in training, in innovation, testing, and the like. So these activities, since all are ISA initiatives, it might be good to maintain the standards. I mean, of course, on one hand, all of them need not necessarily do the same job, but there could be some specialization. Some centers can focus on, let's say, training. Some centers may focus on, let's say, standards and testing and so on. So there could also be a need for regional centers of excellence, Probably in this regard, ISA can just do a little support, more support to provide or to enable these centers of excellence so that they can serve not only their domestic demands, but also even regional, okay? Even regional. So with this, I think it's possible to have overall a better service, which really enables rapid deployment of solar energy technologies. So with this, I think it's good. We appreciate the support we get from ISA in opening this first Star Center, and also extend the support for other countries, member countries, as much as possible. I'm sure within the next 3-4 years, we'll have a number of them, not only in Africa, but also in Asia and Latin America, as well as other continents. So I think it's a very good opportunity. We appreciate I thank the panelists for excellent inputs they have given us. They have shed light on some parts which were not really apparent in other discussions. So I guess with these very few remarks, I would like to say day over. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Freyvot. So I'm going to close this session. As final word, I will try to wrap up what we have been listening. So training activities. First, we have heard about the importance of academic training and of course, vocational training. And for that, to make it on a large scale, it's very important to work on the training of trainers. I take also the point that the large-scale availability of existing training materials, whatever it is, whether it is a slide or existing sessions, we will work on that and we will make it available. So that's about training. Testing, we have to think of that in thinking of duly accredited testing center, but also we could think of some outdoor test center, which would be much cheaper to disseminate. All this being done in an overall quality assurance approach at the country level, and also why not at the regional level, because you cannot have a module certified or accredited module testing center in every country. So we need to think of a regional approach. Third, about the expertise center, where you find any type of knowledge, of course, technical knowledge, way to design systems, but also all the knowledge about standards. It was just mentioned by Mr. Freyvot. Also the knowledge about regulation, policies, road mapping, how to make a roadmap alive. I'm sure I forgot things. So yes, also the financing issue. There are best practice. I was discussing with the Zimbabwe NFP and the minister, the secretary, the permanent secretary, how to manage this financial request is something we have to share the best practices. And last thing about local content, how to set up incubation center, or how to facilitate entrepreneurship, to deliver local services, being able to implement, to install everything. This is I think the last key issue to develop local expertise and encourage job creation. So we are fully committed on that, especially Saba, who is completely full-time on this program. So we feel really obliged by all your expectations. So I was really happy that for us, it's a good confirmation about our strategy and the interest toward these star centers. So with that, I will thank all of you, all of you as a panelist, present or online, like Mr. Freevote. And I would like also to thank our audience today. So with that, I close this session. Thank you again.